Hello. This video is a demonstration of version 2 of my yard pattern script for JMRI. And in the first video I left out demonstrating support for UTF-8 characters, so in this video I'm going to be sure to include that. Anyway, one of the differences between version 1 and version 2 is that in version 2 you don't have to edit anything. You can just use the script as is. It's good to go, so you can use it on as many yard locations as you have for your layout and as many yard tracks in whatever order you have for each yard location. However, if you want to set up a default, you can do that. So in this case, set yard location is set to city, and you can't see it, but the I has an accent on it. Unfortunately, Windows just doesn't display it very well. So the yard tracks is the same as last time. It's a list. You can enter it as a string. If your yard track is a number, you can enter it as an integer or as another text string. But in this case, track 1, 2, 4, and 3 are valid tracks, and track F2 and 5 don't actually exist in that yard location. So I've entered a list, but the list is defective. So let's see how that works. I was really happy to find out that you can add a frame to the Panel Pro home screen. So I've added this frame here with two text inputs. One's called yard pattern and the other's called set car for track. And both of these may look a little weird on the video because they're heavily laden with useless UTF-8 characters. But anyway, it demonstrates that it does support UTF-8. So in this yard pattern box, you just click in that and hit enter. And when you do, it'll do the same yard pattern from the last time, and it will use your default settings. So it's set for city, and it's showing yard track 1, 2, 4, and 3. F2 is not valid, so just skipped over it, and 5 is not valid, so just skipped over it. A little change from the last one is that it's showing track totals down here and not yard totals. It was a little misleading. Those weren't yard totals, those are track totals for the report. So I've cleaned that up a little bit. Or if you have different yard locations, you can enter the name of your yard. So I'm typing C and then Alt 141 for the accented I, and then T and Y, and you hit enter. And this will give you a yard pattern for all the tracks in the yard location that you've entered. So that's kind of the same thing, but now it's a sorted list of all tracks for the yard location you've entered. Or you can enter a comma separated 3, 2, 1, 55 is not a real track, and it will, if you enter the tracks, it will give you a yard pattern for the tracks you've entered in the order that you've entered it. And of course it skips over the ones that don't exist. So here's track 3, track 2, track 1, and there's your pattern for that. So let's look at how you might use this. Let's say you do a yard pattern and you got all the tracks here. So you want to set your switch crews to work. So you've noticed you've got some northern traffic in 1, you've got more northern traffic in 2, a little bit in 3, and a smidge in 4. So let's say you want to put all the northern cars in track 1 and maybe clear track 1. We'll put the local cars into track 3, let's say. So, you know, with version 1 you could print this out and you would mark it and you'd hand it to your switch crews and they'd go switch out the rails. It's like, but then what? How do you report it? So that's what version 2 does. So let's just close this, and so now I can set, let's say I'll enter in the set cars for track, I'll type in track 1, hit enter, and instead of a switch list now I get a form. And so the form is listing these cars that are in track 1 and then a destination track. So now I can set them. So the northern tracks are staying in track 1, but the the non-northern car, everything not going to northern is going somewhere else. So let's say I put those park cars in 3, so 3 tab, 3 tab, 3 tab, 3 tab, 3 tab, print. Hit that print button at the bottom and you get a switch list for your location. So the switch list is already marked for you, so you can send that to the printer. So it's these cars to northern are a hold, these ones going to park are now being switched, or should be switched, into track 3. So you can do that now for each one of your tracks. So you got track 1, track 2, excuse me, track 3, and track 4. So there's 4, 3, 2, and 1. So now we can mark each one. So the northern tracks that are, or the northern cars that are in track 2, go to 1. So I'll hit 1, tab 1, tab 1. And there's a parked car, so let's put that in 3, and we'll leave the valley car there. Check the switch list by hitting print. And it's like, yeah, okay, the northern cars are going to 1, and the parked car is going to go to 3, so that's good. And over here, there were some northern cars, I remember. Okay, here they are. 1, 1, 1, 1. So those cars go to 1, and we'll assume it's working. And over here in track 4, there's 3 northern cars, so we'll set those to 1, 1, 1, and yeah, there we go. So we can print that and send that to the printer. Or let's see, take a look at this, and yeah, okay, so it all looks like it's working. So you print those switch lists, you hand them to your switch crew, they do the work, and then when they report the work done, you just hit the set button. So you hit set for that, set for that. You can hit them in any order you want. Set for that, and set for that. And then when you're done, if you want, you can go back to the yard pattern, and now you can see all the cars for Northern are in track 1. And if I did this right, yeah, see, there aren't any cars for Northern in any of the other rails. So there you go. And you got your switch list, you did some switching, you reset the cars, and you moved everything around without building any trains. So kind of cool there. And one more thing, since these are switch lists, and if you happen to be using the JMRI web server, you can go to prefs. Let's see if I can do this. Operations, switch lists, and there's your switch lists. There they are. So you got set cars for city for 1. And so the same switch list is in the web page. So if your yard crews are using their phone and you're using the server, your yard crews can pull up their switch lists on their phone, which actually looks kind of cool. So there you have it. There's a demonstration of version 2. Version 3, I'm going to try to expand the web part of it. But for now, version 2 is pretty much, I wouldn't say done, but that's the direction I'm going. So thank you very much for watching.